Hello guys, I hope you all are safe and sound, confined to your houses during this 21-day long lockdown. And I also hope that you are utilizing your free time productively by reading books or by learning different things. I am also trying to utilize my free time productively by uploading these video classes, and I hope that they will be of some use to you. Today's lesson is going to be about modal verbs. Modal verbs are very confusing sometimes, and we make countless mistakes without realizing them. Just imagine you are standing at a bus stoppage, waiting to catch a bus. You need to make a phone call to your parents. Unfortunately, your mobile phone's battery has drained out. You look around and see another person waiting at the bus stoppage, and he is doing something on his mobile phone. So you decide to approach him and request him to let you use his mobile phone. How will you make that request? Will you say, "Can I borrow your phone to make a phone call?" Or should you say, "May I borrow your phone to make a phone call?" I suggest you use neither of them. In this particular case, might is a more appropriate modal verb to use. You have to say, "Might I borrow your phone to make a phone call?" Another example. Just hear this sentence out. When my house caught fire, I could safely come out in time. This sentence appears to be a correct one, but actually it has to be, when my house caught fire, I was able to come out safely in time. You cannot use could here. Strange, right? I'm soon going to explain these strange rules of modal auxiliary verbs, and I hope that at the end of today's lesson, you will have a much clearer idea about modal auxiliary verbs. So what are modal verbs? There are a number of modal verbs in English language, like can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, ought to, used to, dare, etc. These modal verbs are also called modal auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary means helping. So these modal verbs also, just like do, be, and have verbs, help the main verbs in sentences to have different dimensions. Remember, modal verbs are always followed by the present form or the base forms of main verbs. That means they are followed by bare infinitives. For example, I can do this. You should study. We will play. Here the modal verbs can, should, and will have been followed by the bare infinitives do, study, and play. You cannot say, I can done this, or you should studying, or we will played. They cannot be written because modal verbs are always followed by bare infinitives. So how do modal verbs provide different dimensions to the main verbs? Suppose you say, I go. Here, by using the main verb go, you are just talking about an action. Now, if you add different modal verbs to that, you will provide dimensions to that main verb. If you say, I will go, you are talking about a future action where there is certainty. If you say, I may go, you are talking about possibility. If you say, I must go, you are talking about necessity. So modal verbs express ability, possibility, probability, permission, deduction, assumption, obligation, necessity, etc. However, in this particular lesson, we are going to focus on ability, permission, and possibility. I will make another video to talk about the rest of them. First, we are going to talk about the modal verbs that are used to express ability. Can and could, these are the two modal verbs that we use to express ability. Can is used to express ability in the present tense. I can climb trees. He can sing well. Here you are talking about your ability to climb trees and his ability to sing in the present tense. You can replace this modal verb can with the expression be able to. So in place of I can climb trees, you can easily write I am able to climb trees. In place of he can sing, you can easily write he is able to sing. You use the modal verb could when you talk about any past abilities. When I was of your age, I could swim across the river. Could you climb trees when you were little? So you are talking about some past abilities in general. You can replace this modal verb could with be able to. You can write I was able to climb trees when I was little. You can say when I was of your age, I was able to swim across the river. However, in case of a single isolated incident, when you manage to do something, you do not use could. In that case, you have to use was or were able to. Like, I was able to save everyone from the burning house. Another example, though it was raining heavily, I was able to save my mobile phone from getting wet by putting it into a plastic pouch. See, these are single isolated incidents, and that's why you do not use could here. You have to use be able to, was or were able to. In case of a negative sentence, you are free to use could. I could not open the door because it was locked from the inside. See, this is an isolated incident. Even after that, you are using could because the sentence is a negative sentence. Now we are going to talk about the modal auxiliaries that express permission. The modal auxiliaries that express permission are can, could, may, and might. When the subject is in the first person, that means when the subject is either I or we use can in the present tense. How? We can watch TV. Here you actually mean you have got the permission to watch TV. In case of an indirect speech, we use may. Mother says we may watch TV. However, you are free to replace may with can. That means in both direct and indirect speeches, you can use can to express permission when the subject is either I or we. Similarly, you use could or might in the past tense when you talk about or when you try to express permission. Mother said we could watch TV, or mother said we might watch TV. When the subject is in the second or the third person, we use may to express permission. If I say, you may sit there, that means I give you permission to sit there. If I say, you may come in, that means I give you permission to come in. But if I use can in place of may, it means you do not require permission. You can sit there means you have got the right to sit there. You can close the window. That means you are free to close the window. I am not here to stop you. You do not require my permission. However, when you talk about an action concerning authority and permission, you strictly use may. If you violate the rules, you may be detained. If the students misbehave with the teachers, the principal may suspend them. Now we are going to talk about how to make requests for permission. So we use the modal verbs can, could, may, and might to make requests. Can is the most informal of them all. Could is used in both formal and informal situations. May and might are strictly formal. Informal means when you are among your family members or friends. Formal means when you are talking to a teacher or some government officer or like that. So when you are with your friends and you wish to make a request, you will say, "Can I borrow your phone?" When you are in a formal situation, suppose in a school, you will use may. May I come in, sir? May I go to the washroom? Etc. Now, might is used when you are doubtful about a positive response. Means you are making a request, but you are not sure whether you will get a positive response. Remember that first cartoon where you approached a stranger to make a request to let you use his mobile phone. So what did I say? You had to use might. So the request will be, might I use your phone? Because he is a stranger. He may not let you use his phone. In this case, we need to remember that could is the most used modal verb in this case. When you are trying to make a request, you mostly use could. Why is it so? I have told you before that could is used in both formal and informal situations. So when you are confused about which one to be used, may or can, you can freely use could. Now we are going to talk about the modal verbs that are used to express possibility. We mainly use may and might to express possibility. May or might plus present infinitive, that is the base form of a verb, and may or might plus continuous infinitive, that is be plus verb plus ing, are used to express possibility in the present or future tense. For example, he may help them. That means there's a possibility that he helps them or will help them. She may be waiting for us at the station. That means there's a possibility that she is waiting at the station. We use might when we express doubt. He might help us means it is very unlikely that he is going to help us. There's a possibility, but very unlikely. She might be waiting for us at the station. It means there's a possibility that she is waiting for us at the station, but it is very unlikely. That means you are doubtful. Remember, maybe and might be can be replaced with could be. May or might or could plus perfect infinitive, that is have plus V3. This format is used when you speculate about some past actions. Suppose you say the train may or might have left. That means it is possible that the train left or has already left. When the uncertainty is not there, that is, something did not happen or has not happened, but you still think that it was possible, you use might. For example, you had to be more careful. You might have slipped. That means you have not slipped, but it was possible. You had to be more studious. You might have failed. That means you have not failed, but it was possible. That's the end of today's lesson. Soon I am going to make another video on the rest of the modal auxiliary verbs. Now I am going to present some simple tasks for you. You are going to see some sentences on the screen with blanks in them. Try to guess the correct modal verbs to be placed there. Once you guess the answers, resume the video and check whether your answers are correct. But before you do so, please go through the entire video once again and get your doubts cleared.